Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Life Transformations Podcast. I'm your host, Leo, and today I have the honor of having on Dr. Christle Guevarra as a guest. She also known as Dr. Christle on Instagram. She's a family medicine and sports medicine doctor, and she's also, uh, gone through an own transformation in her own life. And so we'll talk a bit about that, of course. And so welcome and thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And I think I have prepared a few questions for you and a few
Sure.
things I would like to discuss. But I think first I just wanted to show also my respect and admiration for the fact that you choose to share your struggles as well publicly,
Yeah.
and because not everyone does that.
Yeah.
And I try to do that to some extent as well, and try
Yeah.
to be public about the things which are not going the way I want them in my life,
Yeah.
things that I have to overcome. And I think that when someone does that is usually because they think that even though there is some personal risk to sharing many details, it's usually something that helps others, right?
Yeah.
That there is someone else that needs to hear that more people struggle with the things they struggle with. So I believe that's why you share so much, and I really appreciate the fact that you do. So that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say just as an introduction, I guess.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with you as far as like how sharing and actually talking about this really helps. Not just myself, just to get it out there, but also helps other people. I guess I just got so tired by the time I got to where I am academically, and then realizing that it wasn't going to touch the actual thing that I needed help with the most, which is, we'll get into that, like hunger and all that stuff. And I think something just happens when you get older. You just stop giving a crap about what other people think, like all the negative feedback, or because I knew I was going to get that. So I'm just like, you know what? But for every negative comment, I get two more or three more stories of like, share of experiences that people have gone through. Like, I've struggled with the same thing. Thank you for opening your mouth and like saying this, because like we need to have these conversations.
Yeah, yeah, great, great, amazing. To start with, can I just ask you some, I guess, even just numbers about your
Yeah.
own journey,
Yeah.
like where you're at your highest weight, and
Yeah.
where you're at right now, and yeah. Mm.
Yeah. At my highest weight, I probably was over 200 pounds, but
Mhm.
officially I did not. I went to Weight Watchers, and like before I stepped on the scale at Weight Watchers, this was back in 2006,
Mhm.
which was my heaviest. I made sure to kind of like not crash diet, but sort of, I was eating a lot of junk food at the time. Like I sort of cleaned up my diet for like a week so at least the water weight would drop. And so I was 198 officially on the scale. And I'm 4'11" for
Yeah,
reference.
yeah.
And I had no idea what lifting weights was at the time. So that was back in 2006. And then currently I am around 132
Hmm.
pounds. And so I've been able to maintain that. It's a little bit complicated with the recent surgery or last year's surgery, but I've been able to maintain that for the last couple of months.
Amazing, amazing. I mean that's great, and um, I'm happy for you because you seem so healthy even just when I see all your reels and all your
Oh,
pictures and so on. You look happy and healthy, so that's amazing. Yeah,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah. And I guess you have been very open about
Mhm.
the usage of GLP-1s, and
Yeah,
you have also written a book about it. I'll be honest, I haven't read
that's okay.
the ebook, but
Yeah,
I know that it's there. So
yeah,
I think one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is I think for my viewers, one thing which we two have in common is probably struggling with hunger,
yes.
right? So I think that's where our path meets quite a lot.
Yeah,
And then everybody has to find their own way of dealing with that, and it's
yeah,
no matter how you do it, it's not going to be easy.
correct.
So I guess it's important for people to know that there are different approaches you can take. There are different things, but Yeah, I guess I will give you my picture maybe
Okay, okay,
of GLP-1s, and then you can
okay,
correct me or add the
okay.
information, and if that's okay with you.
Yeah, totally. Let's do it.
So my understanding is that GLP-1s basically work by uh, activating your feeling of being full, basically, or activating those hormones more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
help you to feel more full, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the main function that they have. Then they can have a few side effects as well, and I think basically for people who are planning to just take the drug and not change anything about their lifestyle, that's when it becomes potentially harmful or yeah, not really a good solution. But if you are lifting weights to make sure you keep muscle mass, and if you are eating a relatively healthy diet and high in protein and all of that, then in that use case it can be an aid to help with the hunger signaling and yeah. So that's basically my general understanding of it.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, the hormone does help with the feelings of being full, but and that not only happens with slowing down of the digestion and then sending signals up, but there are other pathways with hunger that have that are involved with not just like our physiologic need for calories, but then you have different reward pathways where people will eat because people will continue to eat beyond what their body actually like physically needs because of some other pathway. So some of the pathways, it's like food feels good. So food gives me a rush. It's excitable, it's enjoyable, it's pleasurable. I'm going to continue eating. But then there's also a different pathway where people will still continue to eat even though they aren't liking this. Like just continue, like, why am I eating this? I don't even like it. Like, I feel kind of gross, but I'm still going to eat it anyway. Like that is so there's like multiple different things that are involved with hunger and satiety that I'm not always like I'm not an expert on like the neuroscience
Mhm.
research and behind it, but like that is my general gist of like what I can take as far as the hunger goes because it like early on I've tried to explain what this hunger feels like food noise, and for a while I hated the word food noise. I just felt like hunger was like this unrelenting monster on like both sides of my shoulders, just like clawing and gnawing at me 24/7, and I like would wake up and think about food and feel hunger. I would feel like the physical pangs of hunger, but then I would also be thinking about it. And then it would just eat up my entire day's worth of like bandwidth in my brain because I'm like, okay, let me pretend like I'm not hungry because I just need to willpower my way through it and just pretend like it doesn't exist because I'm a good person and I'm smart and I should know better. Like, and then you start beating yourself up. So it's like this like battle going on in your head. And like, how am I supposed to get work done? How am I supposed to be a productive person? Show up in relationships when like in the back of my brain, I've got like, everybody sort of fighting it out like on the hunger on the hunger
Yeah,
battlefield.
yeah.
So,
I can relate to a lot of that. I mean, and I definitely think that getting away in some way or another from blaming yourself is a big part of the process.
oh yes.
So I think that for many people, they
Yeah.
probably don't really have a concept of how different people can perceive hunger.
Yeah.
So, of course, I think the average person struggles with hunger to some degree.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say that. I would say that. Then there are some people who struggle in the other direction, right? They have a hard time eating up
Yeah.
and gaining weight and all of that. And then there are a bunch of people, yeah, like me and I guess like you, then who are hungry most of the time, basically, and just have a much
Yeah.
higher food drive than average.
Yes.
And I think that the people who are not in that category have a hard time grasping that because they have not lived it themselves. So for me, like I know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess the other thing too, kind of drawing from medical training is nothing's ever, humans aren't black and white. They're never like the textbook classic case that you read about. And so I guess as a family medicine doctor and a primary care doctor where you see everything, all ages, all types of situations, I guess I just really come to an appreciation that nothing's ever clear and nothing's ever black and white. And so, the times where I have really been able to make a like a diagnosis, like a rare diagnosis, or like do something really like awesome medically is because not because I knew I had this knowledge in my brain, like I knew the answer, but because I took the time to listen and I took the time to help that patient search for an answer. Like, I'm not going to get it today. We're not going to get all of your questions answered today, but we're going to work through this and we're going to do it systematically so we can keep things organized and keep my brain organized. But we're going to go one by one and try and figure this out together. So, I don't think, and I think I'm trying to, lean into that as I hear a lot of people, and I feel like the fitness community is starting to really come around as far as kind of accepting the fact that this is biology and not just like some sort of quack, quick buck that people are making because they're here to stay. I mean, they've been around for decades to help with type 2 diabetes. And
Yeah,
so it's yeah. So we're gonna have to learn to deal with it.
yeah, yeah. And so if we go into, if you are an average person who's listening to this, I guess there would be some questions that they have, like, what are pros and cons? What are some
Yeah.
common side effects? And
Yeah.
who should maybe consider this or should not consider this? So I
Right.
don't know if you want to go through maybe those. I asked a few questions at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but you
Let's.
know, if you want
Yeah.
to unpack that a bit, I guess.
Yeah. The pros and cons. Let's start with the pros and cons. So for and this is just for weight management, correct? Just or
Yeah,
these just medic yeah. So the GLP-1s are like the pros, the if hunger and food noise is the cause of what's going on, it can be super helpful in sort of decreasing the amount of hunger signaling that is going on. So the goal isn't to just eliminate hunger completely, but to just, take it down a notch so that you can live your life and have a balanced, healthy lifestyle. I would also say people do find peace once that food noise is gone and show up in ways in which they hadn't thought about. So being able to do the inner work, because I know a lot of people in the fitness space are like, if you, are trying to lose weight, you should really think about doing the healing work on the inside versus the outside. For somebody who struggles with food noise, if your entire brain is taken up, for the majority of the day with like this food noise, it's really hard to actually sit down, be quiet mentally, and focus on whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's meditation or, skills, to relationship building skills, etc. Some of the cons, you can, like you mentioned, and I know that this is more of a fear mongering tactic. It's a little bit more nuanced. People are worried about muscle loss, but I think there are easy ways to mitigate that. Like that's not, doesn't have to be a part of the plan. The other things are the common side effects. So nausea, vomiting, diarrhea are probably the biggest ones that
yeah,
people complain about the most. And so also that can be tolerable and can be mitigated with a time and then also really thinking about your lifestyle because there are things that you can do to help decrease that and also still protect your muscle from being lost.
yeah. Because I think uh, I'm not an expert or a doctor myself, but my understanding is that, okay, the GLP-1s, they have a function, and as we've discussed with
Yeah.
being satiated and being
Yeah.
and not being hungry and all of that. But at the end of the day, what's causing the weight loss, like in every other case, it's the calorie deficit, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's the way it's working.
Hmm.
And at the same in the same way, a very heavy calorie deficit, that's what will cause the muscle loss. So it's not the drug itself that causes the muscle loss, but it's a high deficit, low protein, not
Hmm.
lifting weights.
Hmm.
So it's the combination of those things basically that's causing the muscle loss that's
Yeah.
associated with the GLP-1s. That's my
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And, honestly, depending on the clinical situation, depending on where that patient is starting with. And so here's the other thing too. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, if you don't do this immediately, like you're going to lose everything." Like, no, it happens over the course of months. So, and even if it does happen, you can still gain that muscle back.
Mhm.
So the body's very resilient in that regard. So, because I do want to just say that there is also this notion of gatekeeping. Like if you don't lift the weights, if you don't eat the protein, if you don't already have a structured lifestyle, like people get really upset when you start the medication and don't do everything all at once. Like, so I just, wanted to point that out. Like, you can start somebody on a medication and they may not be able to get to the gym immediately, and that's okay. Like, I
Yeah,
just, like these aren't like, you just inject and all of a sudden the muscle is like gone. Like it takes, and I have lost muscle before, doing the wrong things, doing all the cardio and whatnot. It took months to look like a like floppy sack of potatoes, like with absolutely no muscle tone, because I didn't do any cardio or I didn't do any lifting whatsoever in the early 2000s and all throughout the 90s. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you can gain muscle back, of course. And when you're talking about the fact of starting with one thing
yeah,
and maybe not doing everything at once, I mean that's the way it's sometimes can work anyways, especially if you have a very high amount of weight to lose. Like if I look back at my own journey, so for
yeah,
me myself, I haven't used the drugs, and I think
yeah,
you're aware of that. And
yeah,
uh, but for me also as well, I had to do things in different steps. So for
yeah,
me, I had to start with some changes to my diet first, and at that time
yeah,
I had with knee injuries, and
yeah,
I weighed 460 something pounds. So
yeah.
I couldn't really move around much.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I wasn't lifting weights, I wasn't walking much. So I had to start first with just making changes to my diet.
Yeah.
And actually, one thing I did, I basically started eating for a while only meat mostly,
Okay.
which is not necessarily the best balanced diet,
Yeah.
but it works. And yeah, at that time, I was struggling even just to have the energy to prepare food,
Hmm.
to move around. And I actually my yeah, I haven't really talked about this before, but I'm gonna do it now. But my apartment was extremely messy at the time. I had
Hmm.
boxes everywhere and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So I wasn't really using my kitchen either. So
Yeah.
I bought an air fryer,
Uh-huh.
and that was my start. So
Yeah.
I used an air fryer and just
Mhm.
prepare different meats in it, and
Yeah.
like even like whatever meatballs or whatever, and yeah, and sausages, and yeah, and just it was a start. It was better than I was doing before. It was not perfect. uh,
Exactly.
so so
Exactly.
I took one step in the right direction, right?
Hmm.
Then when I was able to start lifting weights, I did that. When I was
Yeah.
able to walk more, I started to walk more and more. And when I was then I yeah I changed my diet and improved it and made it more balanced with carbs and with fiber and with yeah
Yeah.
including everything else. And yeah, but it doesn't happen all at once. And I guess so that's uh, just because you start with one step and don't do everything at the same time, it doesn't mean you're not going in the right direction anyways.
Yeah.
But long term, you should definitely try to incorporate all the things that you need to do, right? So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was better than what you were doing before. So,
Yeah.
like, that is the key word. So, again, a lot of things I see online is like a coach, you hire a coach and they're like, here's your macros, here's your lifting protocol, here's your, prescribed steps.
And
And it's
everything
just
is
like,
perfect. And
right. And you're just like, okay, well, I mean, like, yes, because you probably filtered out for people who already weight train or whatever. It's just like some people just aren't ready for that, and that's
yeah.
okay. And yeah, it took me, I think, a year to get used to the taste of vegetables because I had quit smoking. And so all of the junk food I was eating prior to that, like, started to like taste really weird. And then, I didn't like vegetables at all. They had no taste to them. And so, yeah, your taste buds change after you quit smoking. And it takes a
Mm.
while for that to catch up. So, yeah, nothing happens, all at once. It's slow, gradual. I'm a big fan of slow, gradual changes at a time.
Yeah, agreed. And that's I think one of the best piece of advice for anyone who's trying to do such a big change. Like if you have a big amount of weight to lose, you need to start with doing something which is better than the yesterday, and then you you will get your own when you start getting some results, you will get your own motivation to do more stuff and
Yeah.
to change stuff around and add more steps. So yeah, okay, amazing, amazing. So I didn't want to only talk about the GLP-1s and
Uh-huh.
the drugs. So I guess I wanted to dive more into your own life as well a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so we have talked about how it has affected you even recently and so on, but how would you say that hunger has affected you throughout your life if we go
Oh,
back? So
oh,
talk
yeah.
a bit about that and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's been kind of the driving force with a lot of the decisions I've made in my life. Growing up in an Asian like kind of culture,
Mhm.
you get, family is very, they'll tell you when you gain weight or when you're fat or when you're skinny or when you're pretty or when you're not pretty. So, just sort of felt like I got a lot of my attention from getting good grades and being, the academic one, so to speak. And so I felt like for a long time that was sort of this identity that I had started to realize and just chose for myself, I guess. And I guess the thing that, was not so healthy, definitely looking back, is it was really a lot of my academic achievements were to sort of make up for the fact that did not have my weight under control and I had this unrelenting hunger. But if I can excel as a student, if I can get, straight A's, if I can, become a doctor, if I can, well, I initially wanted to be a PhD in chemistry. And so, yeah, it was, and then, it kept going and it kept going and it kept going. And it just, still felt hollow. Like it felt like, I can't tell you like I had a free ride in undergrad like and I got paid to go to school and it just sort of felt like, what's next? What's next? And so and don't get me wrong, I really loved like the process of going to school. I loved all of that stuff, but like the actual achievement of like when you finish was just sort of like eh, kind of I don't know. It just felt really I like by the time I got out of medical training, I was just like, that was cool. All right. Like I'm done. Now what? Now what? Was always the thing. Now what? And I'm like, I'm tired now. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired now. I think I will really start taking a stock of what it is that I want to do. What do I want to be? And once that hunger or food noise just sort of died down, it was like, oh, I have time to like think and like kind of observe the world around me, observe what's going on in my life, and actually start to do the inner work that everybody keeps talking about with, weight loss journeys, who you are. And so, yeah, doing that in
I'm
my
working on that.
yeah, yeah, because but like
Yeah.
it's it's not like again it doesn't happen all at once, right? You have to have all these other parameters to fall into place, and so yeah, it has really shaped who I am, and I really wonder and. My food noise drive has affected my decision making as far as like I had thought about that in medical training, like do I actually want to go through this knowing that I have, this unrelenting hunger and I'm struggling with, weight loss and, even being in sports medicine, it's like I have this, like, yes, I am competent, I am compassionate, I love taking care of athletes. I just have this like not secret, but this like hunger thing that's like gnawing at me in the background all the time. And I just don't know if I could ever like if I ever really fully showed up at certain times just because I was like biting my nails or just really kind of like half distracted thinking about how hungry I am and how I just want to get the hell out of clinic so I can go eat something. So,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think for me, I mean, the way hunger has affected me most is that for a few years, I was fully listening to it, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I really got to the deep end of that, and
Hmm.
yeah, so um, I definitely, I was at a point where I didn't really know what was going to happen next, if you know what I mean, because
Yeah.
when you're that heavy, uh, yeah, you feel like you could get a heart attack any second, or you could,
Yeah.
anything could happen, basically. Um, so and then yeah, I've had to find uh, my ways of dealing.
Hmm.
One of one of my days, one of my ways of dealing is walking.
Mm, nice. I
And it helps me, like it's a kind of therapy for me.
hmm.
Uh, and so is lifting weights in a way. Uh, and my experience has been that even though um, nutrition is what makes the biggest difference in terms of weight loss or fat loss,
Yeah.
for me, training is what I guess trains my discipline and so on even more.
Yeah.
And what helps me even with food in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. For me, I've always kind of felt, uh, yeah, I guess ashamed of the fact of being, of wanting to eat so much, or of my biggest meals I would eat them by myself at home, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
not like in front of others,
Of
and
course.
so it becomes this kind of shameful thing, and yeah, yeah. So I'm still doing my inner work as well and working
Yeah.
on myself, but
Yeah.
it helps knowing others struggle too. And so how do you feel like people were uh, treating you differently maybe when you were bigger?
Mm.
Because I know that was the case for me anyways. uh,
Yeah.
I've been very clear with the fact that I don't hold a grudge against anyone, but
Yeah.
at the same time it has been a reality that people
Yeah.
did treat me differently when I was that big. So I don't know how that has been for you and how people treat you and all of that. And
Yeah. The and I've tried to let that go. Then and don't take it personally because for even for, like things that have happened, I think when you hold on to that and
Mm.
give that, real estate in your brain, it only hurts you because
Yeah.
it prevents you from being able to live your best life, make all sorts of awesome decisions, and so forth. Um, I struggle with that in the sense of, yes, there is that reality of people did treat me differently because I look differently. But then also, how am I acting? How am I
Mhm.
behaving? Do I smile more because I'm actually genuinely happy? I was not happy. I felt like I was in a prison of my own creation when, at 200 pounds. And so I did not want to be visible. I did not like kind of, my body language kind of just showed, so there are subtle nonverbal things that also were in place in a, and not just the just sort of weight aspect of it. And so, yeah, I've done, and I've also been very hypersensitive. I remember being in a interview for a grad program. It was a chemistry grad program, and I was interviewing all the different labs, for chemistry. And one group go was going on like the whole group would get together at the end of the day and go on like a run through the fields. And so definitely felt like they did not want me to be a part of that lab at 200
Okay.
pounds.
Okay.
So, and then there were times where I was at a wedding and the photographer, I was talking to two other girls, and the photographer like kind of pulled the other two girls aside to take photos. And so, and we were not,
Ah,
and we
ah,
weren't even dressed up. This was like at a casual pre-wedding party. And so I definitely like ran to the van, and I just remember sobbing because I was just like, yeah, like there's no reason. There was absolutely, like I couldn't think of a reason, like, not even going into the details, but it
yeah.
just seemed really obvious that she wanted to take pictures of these two and not me. So I'm just gonna stand over here and cry. And
That's for one, that's really mean, anyways. But yeah, but then again, I also know that there are many situations where I myself found explanations for situations where
yeah,
they're not necessarily that way, right?
yeah, could be
So
something else, but I
yeah,
definitely interpreted
you did,
that as
yeah,
such. And
yeah.
yeah, 100%. So.
No,
She
I
never
get it.
outright, yeah, the photographer did not tell me like we don't want you in this picture because you're fat. But that is how I definitely had my hypersensitive lens on, and that's how I interpreted it. So I cried, and
That's yeah,
it happens.
yeah, that's shitty. Yeah, yeah, but but yeah, I get that. I get that. I fully agree with what you said as well. That even though some parts of how people treat you has to do with how you look, it also has to do with how you present.
Hmm.
And I have reflected over that a lot myself too, because I do know that people are more generally people want to be more around me now that I am more.
Hmm.
I'm generally doing better in life, and I'm generally
Yeah.
happier and so on. So it's easier for people to be around me. And when you are, it's I guess it is what it is, right? But when you are down and when you maybe will need people the most, that's
Yeah.
when people are not really want to be around you. And it is what it is. It's not their fault, but it's you don't really attract companionship when you're at your worst, I guess.
Yeah. And some people don't
Yeah,
know what's going on. So being
yeah,
able to tell people, hey, this is going on, like let's go grab, coffee, let's go meet up. So yeah, because a lot of times people are just in their own world
yeah,
and
and they have their own problems, and
live
then
with their own problems, right?
yeah,
So it's important to communicate that. But also, again, it's when you're down, when you're down in that space and feeling alone and in your like head and don't want to see people because you are, feeling some type of way about the way you look, it's hard. It's really hard to reach out and people and ask for help.
yeah, yeah. I feel like asking for help in general. It's something I'm working on, but
Yeah.
it's not always easy. Uh, um, yeah. Okay. So I had another question for you.
Yeah.
So when you, because there must have been a point somewhere where you kind of took the decision to lose weight in general. So when you were like 200 pounds and so on, so you said you were on Weight Watchers and all of that, and or
Yes, went back to Weight Watchers and then I stopped because I moved to go to, moved out of state to go to grad school, but I've been on diets my whole, like, you know, one diet after the other. I think I was like 12 when I started my first diet, of fat-free cottage cheese and fat-free saltines. And yeah, so the, yeah, after 200 pounds, I was like, I can't go to grad school. I need to look and like continue this like junk food, eating out all the time, smoking cigarettes. Like I actually need to clean this up and start acting like an adult. So once I got to Wisconsin, I had already quit smoking cold turkey, so that was fine.
and that's a
I
great job already. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was the easy part because you don't have to live with cigarettes. You have to live with food. And so now I need to figure out what my relationship to food is going to look like. So it really started off for like a year of just buying groceries and like cooking something at home. So didn't matter what it was. So I had like heated up some vegetables in a nonstick pan and then put it in between two pieces of bread with some mayonnaise.
Okay.
and called that a meal for crying out loud. But I mean, it was better than what I was eating before, which was like, chips, cookies, candy, a burrito from, the taqueria, at in undergrad, and then getting all you can eat sushi for dinner. It was like like every meal I ate in undergrad was takeout.
Mhm.
So I was like, all right, this is literally better than what I was doing before, even though now hearing myself say that, it sounds really disgusting. But I mean, everything's relative. So
Yeah. No, but we have similar experience, right? Like I said, like when I
yeah,
started, it wasn't doing anything perfect, but it was better than I was doing before, right?
right.
So but I guess so. Your motivation originally was basically just, yeah, kind of, I guess the picture you wanted of yourself in a way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I
Or
did want to lose weight for vanity reasons. I want
okay,
yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But also like this, is not a healthy lifestyle, so I should and I'm not going to be around if I continue going down this path. So I need to clean it up now. I need to figure out. And I was moving out. This is the first time I moved out because like on my own in grad school, I was like, yeah, I need to be an adult. I need to figure this out because this is just, I'm not taking this with me to to the PhD program. And so so vanity and like learn to become an adult were to the two things that were sort of, and health were like the things that I was thinking about when I decided like I've had enough of this.
Mhm. No, but yeah, it sounds like you basically just kind of wanted to stop being on the receiving end of this effect of the hunger and effect of the
Yeah.
food and effect of all the stuff, and you wanted to be more in control, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
sounds like to me. You
Yeah.
you wanted to feel like, okay, man, yeah, I can take care of this, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
I can take care of
Yeah.
myself.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, great. So, what is there something like that you would like to share about your own journey and your own change that I haven't asked you so far?
I guess when I started on the medication,
Mhm.
this GLP-1 medication, it really felt like a light bulb had gone off in my head and everything was just so quiet that at first it was very intoxicating because I haven't experienced that type of peace around food for my entire life, as far as I can remember. And for some people, that is sort of, a similar result, but not everybody feels that way as well. And so yeah, the I think that is one of the big things that it's not for everybody, but for those of us who are really driven with high food noise, this can have a really powerful effect on not just the relationship with food, not just the calories, but just, yeah, again, it has touched so many other facets of my life that I can't and that I'm still exploring. And I want, I guess people to just at least consider the fact that some people really do need this medication and it's okay, and to really give people a listen when they're telling you their story. Because so often we kind of go and judge the other way, like, oh, this person's lying, or this person just doesn't want it badly enough, or this person just doesn't have the willpower. It's like, no, this is actual biology. This is not just, you know, like, this isn't like some made up woo stuff to justify, injecting once a week. So I think that's really what I wanted to just sort of impress upon people.
Yeah, yeah, and I know, for example, that some for some people it's just, yeah, the hunger signaling is just higher in some of us than with others, and everybody needs to kind of find their own
Their
way
own way.
that works
Yeah.
to deal with it, and it should be something that they can sustain long term. So yeah, I think this is one of the solutions that's available, one of the aids that's available, and it's
Hmm.
important for people to know about it. And I recognize a lot myself in also what you're saying, that people, when I was at my biggest, they would think I was not hardworking, I was not disciplined, and
Hmm.
even though I had shown that in other areas of my life already,
Yeah.
and as you said yourself as well, I mean, you are very accomplished, and you're yeah, in academics and in your work life, right? So it's but people still see what they see, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they judge based on that sometimes. So uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, I think it's important for people just to know that there are different ways of doing this, and they
Yeah.
should find what works for them. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. The last thing I will say is that not everybody needs this. You still have
mm,
to do the work. You still have to show up. You still have to cook your food or
yeah,
find healthy ways to prepare your food. You have to find a consistent schedule for you to resistance train,
yeah,
exercise, get your steps in. And some people do find continued success. Like, not everybody has to stay on the drug forever.
mhm,
Some people have started it and then stopped it, continued to lose weight or maintain their weight, and that is amazing. The literature does say that, majority of the people will gain the weight back up, but that's just under a study. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to do that. I think you, again, have to find your own way and have to figure out what is going to work for you. And that's going to take a lot more time and effort and a lot of hand holding. And I'm very curious to see how this all kind of, how this all moves as a population, because so many people, this is the online fitness space is such a very small slice of the general population. So not everybody has access to, the information that we have in our tiny, teeny, tiny little Instagram, social sphere, right? So some people aren't even on Instagram. Some people don't listen to podcasts. And so those are the people that I'm very curious to see, like, how they get their information, or what kinds of education and what kinds of coaching do they have access to? Do they have access to dietitians, personal trainers? Like, how can we, like, what problems, like, how can we help bridge that gap to those people,
mhm,
to kind of get the message out?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that eventually the people who need to hear it will hear it in a way or another. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of oversimplifications, like in
Mm-hmm.
general when it comes to this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So yeah, but I think my message is definitely what you're saying as well. That if you are gonna use an aid like this, it is very important to still do the work for your own health and for your own
Mm-hmm.
outcome. If you only take the drug long term and don't lift weights and don't eat healthy and don't exercise at all, then it's not going to be great for your health. It's
No.
there is still a benefit to losing fat in itself, of course,
Yeah.
um, but ideally we want you to just be healthy and to
Yeah.
actually be your best self, and
Yeah.
um, not just focus on a number on the scale, right? You
Exactly.
you, you had a reel recently about that.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Body composition, protecting your muscles and your bones and all of that stuff. Super important. And those are the conversations to have as soon as possible, like from the jump when, being on these drugs and all throughout the process, because it can get really people can get really disheartened and feel a little bit of a letdown when they see the scale and it's either not going down or it's not going down fast enough. Why am I, like, these other people have lost so much weight, and then they do the comparison thing online, and it's like, but have you taken a look at the picture that you first took when you started this whole journey, and you didn't want to take that picture, and now compare it to this one, which looks very different, because not only are you losing weight, but you're actually, like, for a lot of new people new to the gym, you can also gain muscle. Like, that whole body recomposition thing is real, and it's pretty awesome to see. And so, yeah, I always encourage people to take the picture, especially in the beginning, even though I know, like, I never wanted to take it. And then I always regretted it 12, 14,
yeah,
16 weeks, 6 months later. Like, damn it.
yeah. I'm actually lucky in a way because I didn't intentionally take any before pictures.
Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't actually do that, but I ended up having some because yeah, I was actually doing an acting course, and we had
Oh.
recorded some scenes from that,
Oh.
and
Oh,
that,
hey.
that was when I was about at my biggest.
Yeah.
So I had I took some shots from that I've used as my before pictures in the end.
Oh man.
It
Yeah.
otherwise I wouldn't really have had something to compare to, because I wasn't really taking much pictures
Yeah.
when I was at my biggest. It is what it
Same.
is.
Same here. Same here. I did not want to take the pictures. Hell no. Uh-uh.
Yeah,
I didn't like what I saw.
yeah, yeah.
So,
So I guess we're coming towards the end
okay.
of the interview, but what I wanted to know is just, are there any questions that you have for me and about
Oh,
me and my journey? I guess I wanted to open up for that to finish. And yeah.
yeah. I guess what's one thing that you're working on for 2026? Because I did read your story. I did read a little bit about your story before I hopped on here. So, yeah, what is one thing that you'd like to do that you're working on in 2026?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I have quite a few things that I'm working on,
Okay.
honestly. So uh, I've just started my coaching
Ooh,
business. So now I'm gonna look for clients and so on. So I'm gonna try to,
yay.
yeah. So I'm gonna try to do my best to help others
Yeah.
with to transform their own life.
Yeah.
So I'm slowly getting into that space. I am still working on my own body composition a lot.
Yeah.
So this year I'm not really focusing too much on the weight itself, but I am
Yeah.
focusing on my waist measurement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically, I want to get to the point where my waist is less than half my height.
Mm-hmm. How tall are you?
I'm 5'9".
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, that would be 34 inches, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
It would
All
be,
right.
yeah, yeah. So I'm somewhere around 39 now,
Okay.
probably, or something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have still a way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had yeah, I had gotten down to a very pretty low weight, and then I've gained
Mm-hmm.
some of it back, and
Okay.
now I'm basically trying to just replace fat with muscle as much as I can.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on. And it's going decently. It's going
Yeah.
decently. So yeah, for me, coaching is what I'm going to focus on. Hopefully, I'm going to focus on myself as well and
Yeah.
improve, and then we'll see what life has to offer, right? So I've been very open about the fact that long term for me, I would like to build a family still.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
something I
Mm-hmm.
still want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting any younger. I'm
Yeah.
38,
Yeah.
but I still have that kind of picture for myself of what I would like, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I love
so
that.
yeah, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. Congrats. Taking the big first step. I love it.
yeah. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna try to also. I'm trying to still learn as much as I can, right, about
Yeah.
both training and nutrition, and both for me and to help others in the best way I can. So yeah. But I do believe I have some good experience from my own transformation and some good basics that
Mm-hmm.
I can teach. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's more about my style of coaching will probably be more about kind of teaching principles more than being
Yeah.
the one that has to hold your hand every day.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because that's not what I feel that I would have needed anyways. So
I don't know if there's daily code. Like I know some
yeah,
people will check in twice a week, but that even
mm,
that's kind of a lot. I think a weekly check-in,
yeah,
is more than enough to get what you need to build rapport and kind of talk about the other, still address other things other than just the nutrition and, training aspects of it. You can get so much information from somebody in a 15-minute phone call.
mm,
And not just saying like, how was your diet this week? Did you go to the gym 4 times a week? Like, you can get so much more information by just asking them how was your day? How was your weekend? Like, what did you do on the weekend? Who'd you hang out with? Like, how was that experience? Like, tell me, did you go out to eat? Like, how was that? You just, yeah, get, all sorts of answers depending on what questions you ask.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that phase, and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
All right, all right. So I guess we have discussed a lot of useful things, and
Yeah.
I do hope for people who watch this that they kind of, yeah, just take away of making their own informed decisions. I
Yeah.
encourage everyone to, if they are considering different solutions, to just study as much as they can on them and try to
Yeah.
evaluate the pros and cons, and to evaluate for themselves what's right for them. And
Yeah.
yeah, don't dismiss anything, and don't jump on anything either without knowing what you're doing. Basically, that's my whole picture.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time, Dr. Crystal,
Thank you so much for
and
having me on.
I do hope we'll talk again soon. And
Yes.
thank you so much for everyone for listening and watching as well. So yeah, talk to you next time.
All right. Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
take care. Bye.